Toxic masculinity refers to the notion that some people's ideas of manliness perpetuates domination, homophobia, and aggression. And if Jesus Christ can weep, who the hell are we? Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Udobioroh David. If this is your first time of you coming across this YouTube channel, hello and welcome. And if this isn't your first time of you coming across this YouTube channel, hello and welcome back. I know I've been away for a while. I haven't uploaded a video in like 2 weeks, and yeah, but I'm back. So yeah, in today's video, I'm going to be discussing about toxic masculinity in Africa. And this is something that, I have conversations like this with my friends. Personally, we talk about issues like this. We talk about just random ass things. I feel like my guys, my friends, they know me. When I just pick up the phone and we just start talking, and we start talking about random conversations. And recently I was talking to a friend of mine. What even jump started the whole topic was I was talking to a friend of mine, and we kind of like spoke about some really deep issues, and toxic masculinity was amongst what we were talking about, and it just brought me to think that toxic masculinity is actually something we should talk about right here on this channel. This is a topic that I feel like is very much underplayed. In as much as people like to pretend as they talk about it, it's still very much underplayed, and I feel like enough is not being done to shed more light on this. And this for me feels like the bedrock of all the other issues that we are kind of facing in the society. Being an African and a Nigerian, to be precise, we're raised in a specific way, and I feel that the way boys who now grow up to be men are raised kind of affects everything together. So I just thought that before we even go into the video, or before anything is even said proper, I want to find out the proper definition of toxic masculinity. I mean, I know the definition, but I want people who are just watching to know what toxic masculinity is. Toxic masculinity, according to Google, is a set of attitudes and ways of behaving stereotypically associated with or expected of men, regarded as having a negative impact on men and on a society as a whole. Now, another definition says toxic masculinity involves cultural pressures for men to behave in a certain way, and it's likely this affects all boys and men in some fashion. Toxic masculinity refers to the notion that some people's ideas of manliness perpetuates domination, homophobia, and aggression. Now that we've gotten the full-on definition on what toxic masculinity is, I feel like we can now have an opening space to just share it. Now, I feel like this toxic masculinity thing is very much underplayed in Africa. I feel like most things are even very much underplayed in Africa. People don't know the impact of certain things until when it becomes too late, because we've gotten to a point whereby it doesn't only now affect the man, it projects onto other people in society. In Africa, the way boys are raised, we are raised in a very hands-on, brute manner, if that makes any sense. The way African parents raise male children is very much different from how they raise female children. And I understand that obviously there's the gender role which has to be played. But I still believe that there are some certain ways some parents raise their children should be abolished, honestly. Some people's way of parenting definitely needs to be abolished, because the way you raise a child definitely adds to how that child is going to grow up, and adds to how that child is going to be in public. Also very much adds to how that child, or who that child is going to be. In as much as we love to teach our children about ambition, and we love to teach them about goals, and we love to teach them about different things which they apply into their real life, and that brings them to be better individuals, I feel like we should also add these topics when we are raising children, or when people are raising children. In Africa, you could see parents raise children differently, and I mean clearly it is evidence that Africans raise boys in a different way as opposed to how they raise girls. Let me paint a scenario. Let's take, for instance, a female child falls down while playing. You will see that in Africa, they would rush over to the female child and they'll pet her, and they'll say, "Oh my god, sorry, you don't have, oh my god, I'm so sorry, did you injure yourself? Did you get an injury from the fall? How are you okay?" But if a guy or if a boy falls down, it's almost like they turn a blind eye. They always come out and say, oh, as a man, be a man, don't cry. Do you understand? And you would see that mainly and predominantly in Africa, they raise male children in a way that, you know, showing feelings and emotions have become an issue. Showing feelings in the sense that actually showing that, yes, something is affecting you has become an issue. We now wonder why some men are the way they are. We then wonder why are some men just pure hearts, evilish and devilish wicked. We wonder. This is the reason. They've literally raised them their whole life to not feel anything. So why do you think in a relationship it's going to be any different? Why do you think you think that they're going to feel something if they hurt you in a relationship? Or you think that they're going to feel something if they beat you in a relationship? Or you feel like if maybe something happens in a relationship that this man is supposed to show some kind of at least emotion and affection, you think that he's going to display some kind of affection, especially after being raised the way he was raised? Things like this just really add to everything for me. A man should not be raised in a way that, oh, you don't show emotions, men don't cry. Like, people actually believe that men are not actually supposed to cry. People believe men don't cry. People believe that if you show your tears or if you show emotions as a man, that makes you less of a man. That is how most people think. That is how some people reason it in some part of the world that they are. And that is how I think society, especially in Africa, has now embraced that form of raising a child, which personally I think is just a very sick way of raising a man, honestly. I mean, even Jesus Christ wept. Yeah, if Jesus Christ can weep, who the hell are we to say, oh, as a man, don't do this? Jesus Christ could show emotions, could show fear, or any kind of emotion. And if Jesus Christ could do all that, you now think a human being who was built with emotions should not be able to express his emotions? How else do you think is going to be his outlet? And so when I see some men who go through or who are actually very violent, right, in just generally in life, and I just bring myself to look at it and I'm like, oh my God, you've had such a hard childhood. You've been through a lot as a child, because it takes the special grace of God for you to be raised in Africa like the way we are and actually turn out to be better. It takes some kind of self-awareness, some self-dedication, and you need to know that, yes, there's a flaw in how I was raised. I want to be better. That's what it takes for you to now say, okay, you know what, I'm going to be better. And you move with the time. You know, it also comes to the fact of wearing certain items, right? They would say men don't wear pink. Who said men don't wear pink? They would say, oh, that top is not for a guy. Why is that top not for a guy? They'll say, don't go out looking like that. You're not a guy, man. And I'm confused. Like, at what point did we get to this? These things, I generally don't blame the men. I blame how they were raised. Because what we don't know is that it becomes a chain reaction, in the sense that he was raised in a particular way. And it's almost like whatever you put in, garbage out, basically. So it's like they have put in that manner in him, right? He's going to project it to another person. He's going to project that toxic energy and that toxic traits to another individual. Be it a girl, be it his wife, be it his kids, be it his colleagues, be it his friends. They are going to obviously get a fair share of him exhibiting such toxic traits. Everything that happens in this life, knowingly or subconsciously, has its own implication. We don't know it now. We don't even know how it affects us, but subconsciously, everything we've been through affects us in a particular way. And that's why you see most people in different kind of very difficult relationships, because they're not used to admitting they're being wrong, and they're not used to admitting, because some people raise kids in the sense that a male child, you can't be wrong. You know, it's your responsibility not to be wrong. You shouldn't show that you are wrong. I'm tired of seeing and hearing men beat women. I'm tired of seeing and hearing men rape this, a man rapes that, because everything has its own causes, and the whole chain reaction basically just comes together. And you know what happened to him in the past is what he's going to project on the future. Now, the whole toxic masculinity concept now makes these guys have the mindset that they always have to act tough. They always like have to be dominant about every single thing. Parents don't know the depth as to how damaging this shit is, because the minute this becomes their norm, they become a totally different person. And then you blame them for some certain sick actions that they take. I mean, these actions are sick, but then we also have to learn and look at it from two different sides. What's the backstory? So when I hear any disgusting story, I always love to ask myself, what is the backstory? What could have happened? What could have triggered this to happen? You know, they also teach men in this African sense that, oh, you don't have to be afraid. Men don't get scared. That is the shittiest thing I've ever heard. Men don't get scared, and they're always taught to be violent. You have to fight when necessary. And so all this now basically leads to the whole sexist and anti-feminist movement, because they are not used to that opposition, basically. This thing has consequences that generally we don't know and we're not aware of as a society. Because obviously from all these things, men don't cry, you know, you have to be strong, you have to fight. Basically, you have to be dominant, you have to hide your feelings, you have to hide, you know, who you are basically as a person. Because if you're different, or if you act less in their own sense masculine, in the sense that, you know, you don't like certain generic things that you're meant to like as a guy, in terms of sports, in terms of clothing, if you don't like all those things and you like certain different, maybe something that is just very slightly different, and if you don't like any of these things, you're automatically painted as you're less of a man. So if men these boys now actually believe that all these things, they now start to toughen up, which people, and in Africa we don't know the implications of such actions, because it now breeds all the people who, it leads us to domestic violence, you understand, sexual assault, early fatherhood, basically sexually transmitted diseases, because these guys are raised in that way. These guys have been raised to believe that, you know, anything that, you know, does not conform to the normal norm of being a man is less of a man. That is how they see it. And all these things, like if you don't like sport, or if you tend to walk a certain way, or if you tend to talk a certain way, it's almost like, oh my god, you're less of a man, don't do that. It's like if you wear that, you're going to be less of a man. Do you understand? This is how they raise kids. And honestly, I think it's just a very sick way to raise a child, by painting a very tainted image of what masculinity is all about. Then we wonder, how did we get to this point? But we are forgetting that we implemented this. We fed this demon. We made this demon who he is, and we nurtured this demon to be who he is. And then the parents then start crying, you know, when they find out that their child does all these kind of things, but they didn't think about the negative consequences of their actions. They just thought that they were making him a better man. They thought they were making him tough. They thought they were going to make him strong, emotionally strong. But that's not how to raise a man. I feel like with that, it's just something that we should avoid, the whole toxic masculinity traits. I feel like I have not done justice on this topic yet. I just came to shed some light on toxic masculinity in Africa. It is a bad thing for me, and I think men should not be raised in that way. I feel like it's a very sick and sadistic way to raise a child. If you caught your sub here, if you know that you're that toxic nigga who does any or all of these things, please just learn to make the conscious effort to try to be better. I know it's easier said than done, obviously trying to undo years work of damage and nurturing, but I feel like if you want to make a difference, and if you really want to be a better person to your kids and to those around you, you would try as much as possible to tone that nonsense down from your body, because it's bad. It's very, very bad, honestly. And I feel like all of us can actually make a better society and community if we all learn to cohabit, love each other irrespective of our differences, and just learn that the Lord Jesus Christ is the number one and the only judge. So please mind your life and mind your business. So yeah guys, that's all I have for you guys today. If you did enjoy the video, please make sure you give it a huge thumbs up, and of course make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel if you're not already subscribed, and head over right now to the comment section to tell me what you thought about this video, if you did enjoy it or not. And you can also tell me what you think about toxic masculinity in Africa. The comment section is always open for you guys. I love to hear what you guys think, and I would love to hear, you know, your own opinion on certain issues like this. And I would love to also hear if you've also been in a situation with a toxic nigga. That's all I have for you guys today. Until next time, bye guys.